What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Harrison, and I want to talk about Mario Kart World today. I don't think this game is worth the $80 price tag, and I'll definitely explain why. We've had the Switch 2 in our hands for a decent amount of time, enough for me to play Mario Kart World, and I'm not done with the game per se, but I've kind of felt like I've done everything that I want to do in the game. The the free roam mode I think is a little bit underbaked. There's not a lot to do in free roam that I've seen. Yeah, there's the P switches and stuff like that, and there's some other stuff to find. I wish the free roam was a little bit more involved. I wish there was more to do. I don't know if I need a full on. I mean, I would prefer a single player campaign. I don't know what that would look like in a Mario Kart game. To be honest, I mean, it's hard to do some sort of story in like any sort of racing game. So I just don't know if that is possible. But I would just have liked to have something more to do in the free roam. Yeah, it's fun driving around. It's definitely one of those modes where you throw on a podcast and you kind of chill. But as someone who wanted to see Nintendo to take a little bit more of a leap with something, because that's what I wanted from Mario Kart World, or the next Mario Kart before we even knew the name, is I wanted something where we could have an open world game, lots to do, chock full of goodies to find, like a typical Nintendo game. And there's some of that stuff in here, but it's not. Again, I wish there was just a little bit more to do with the free roam. Everything else to me, as someone who played a decent amount of Mario Kart 8, it feels more of the same as far as like content wise. Yes, the Knockout Tour is very cool. It's a great addition to Mario Kart. I think it's a super fun mode. I will say, and this is probably just a skill issue on my end. I've noticed that when you're playing with the computers, at some point, like once they get ahead of you, it is extremely hard for you to catch up. Like, and I'm not even talking like they're just, you know, 10 or 20 feet away from me at all times. No, they're like a huge amount of, they're just like a distance that's impossible to catch up and do anything with, even if you had, I don't know, two or three blue shells. Like it, and again, that's probably a skill issue on my part, so I'm not gonna fault the game for that. But it does seem a little bit weird. And I will say, like, they what I didn't like about Mario Kart 8, it was like all the different customizable options, which I know is weird. More customization, I guess, the better, and most of the time in the game. But I mean, I like the cosmetic aspect, but every little wheel and glider and stuff, all attributed to the weight and stuff of the cart, which I mean, it makes sense, but it was too much to deal with, and they definitely toned that back in Mario Kart World. But what I don't like is the fact that there's still the hidden attributes, like depending on what character you choose. I wish they would just be upfront about that stuff and just say none of the characters matter and it's just the carts, or at least tell you, when you're playing around with the characters, like, hey, this character is considered heavy or light, or which I guess you could just assume by what they look like. But it's a little bit annoying that I have to go out of my way or to look up, on Google, like what the best cart to character combination is. Like, anytime you have to do that in a game, I don't love. I know it happens a lot, but I wish they would just be upfront about that. Also, and I know I'm kind of griping on the game. I do like this game a lot. Um, they have the ability for you to partner up with someone online and play with them against computers, but they don't allow you to party up and then go into like a multiplayer lobby. Yes, you can, if you're quick enough, you can, like, your friend starts a match and then you join in. I haven't had any luck with Knockout Tour doing that. It's just been, we know we've had some luck with Grand Prix. Feels a little bit convoluted. It feels a little bit like Nintendo, like they're making us go out of our way to play with our friends online, which I know Nintendo is weird about that stuff. But I mean, we had the whole, like, we have the chat lobby, like, we have, you know uh, a custom chat lobby that we can see our friends, but it's still convoluted to actually partner up and play online in Mario Kart. It's just a little bit weird, very Nintendo like, but also still super annoying. So yeah, that's what I'll say. I think as of right now, and granted, I got the bundle, so like I technically only paid like the $50 for Mario Kart. It's not something that if like my friend was to say, "Hey, should I pick up the Switch too, and should I pick up Mario Kart?" I would, my first question would be like, "Well, how much do you like Mario Kart?" Because then I would say just get the bundle. But if they're like, "Hey, I'm gonna pick up the Switch too," and not get the bundle, it's like, do you pay $80 for Mario Kart? I just don't think as the first $80 first party Nintendo game, it doesn't feel super premium that I expected it to be as it's priced that way. It feels, I'm not gonna say underbaked because I mean there is a lot of modes to play around in this game, and there's a ton of fun to be had. Um, but like 200cc mode is missing. Like that feels a little bit weird for that not to be in the game. I don't think 200cc has never not been in a Mario Kart game where they had that speed. I don't know that for sure, but it feels a little bit weird that it's not there. And it's also weird to like try to compare Mario Kart World with Mario Kart 8 because Mario Kart 8 was around for like 10 plus years, and they got just huge update on the Switch. So it's hard to compare that when you have that many tracks and years and years of experience with 8, and then we go into World and it's different. But in the positives, like the movement, I mean, this is the best feeling Mario Kart that I've ever played. Like the movement is incredible. The wall riding, the grinding, the way that you can kind of skip parts of the track just by wall, riding is incredible. In a couple years' time, it's going to be very hard to play this game online with people because they're already destroying me, and it's going to be nearly impossible, in the future. So yeah, I wish 200cc was in there. It's not. It's definitely. I used the phrase the term underbaked a little bit ago, but it's not as underbaked as like a Mario Sports title. Those are some of the worst of the worst. Like that, the Switch generation of Mario Sports titles were horrendous. They were absolutely terrible. So it's all in all, I would say it's hard to recommend for someone who maybe is like on the fence about being a Mario Kart fan, which I'm very much that case. Like I'm already to the point where I'm like, I think I've had my fill of Mario Kart. I'm definitely going to play it, continuing to play it. Um, because like that's the only really main Nintendo game right that's out there right now, other than Welcome Tour. And then obviously, Donkey Kong comes out next month, but so I'm definitely going to continue to play it, but I wish that we just got a little bit more out of it. And that's not to say, in the future, like I full on expect them to do a ton of free updates, whether that's adding in 200cc at some point or adding in more courses. Hopefully they give us those for free for a time being. The way they kind of do Splatoon, like I would appreciate that, and then you can give us like a big DLC or expansion or whatever, however you want to phrase it, with a ton of stuff, but like, different worlds potentially that we could go to, add in, Zelda tracks and Kirby tracks and stuff like that, add in other Nintendo characters. So I definitely feel like we'll get there at some point, with Mario Kart World, and for it to be able to be justified with that $80 price tag. But right now, as the game stands, I just don't think it's worth it. Worth $80. If you could find the bundle, get the bundle. Otherwise, maybe wait. Like if you're okay with waiting, to get Mario Kart, I would say just maybe wait, until more updates have happened and stuff like that. So yeah, just want to give my honest thoughts on Mario Kart. Again, it is a great game. Super fun. The online works very well. I have no issues with connectivity or anything like that. Just a couple of gripes here and there, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below. Do you guys agree with me, or disagree? Please let me know. Love to have that discussion, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank y'all so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Consider subscribing to the channel. I'll let YouTube algorithm pick one of my videos below for you guys to watch. Give it a click, and I hope you enjoy, and I will see you in the next video.